This is the Unit 5 study guide on inequalities, the answers to it. You're going to need to know how to recognize, how to translate, how to identify different parts of it, and finally how to solve and graph inequalities. So you're going to look very familiar to the previous unit on equations and expressions. Part 1 asks us to recognize and to identify as an inequality, which I'll call I, an expression, which I'll call E, an equation, which I'll call Q, just for the sake of simplicity. If it's none, I'll put an N. This one is an equation, so I'll put Q. This one is an inequality, so I'll put I. This one's an expression, so I'll put E. It's kind of confusing. I'll put that an X for expression. This is an equation, so I'll put E. This one, let me see, looks like an inequality, so I'll put I. F is just an expression. G is a true inequality, because it's a true statement. This is an expression. This is another inequality. Part 2 says to translate into a mathematical inequality. There's a hint, they're always going to be inequalities. So you're always going to see the word is. This is, but really it's is greater than, so that's is greater than the square root of 9. It's not saying to write that as 3. Translate exactly. The square root of 9 is written as the square root of 9. Don't give me the answer, just write the square root of 9. 8 less than, where there's that phrase that's always going to be there, 8 less than a number. Is at most is less than or equal to. It's at most, which means it can't be greater than, but it can be equal to, and it can be less than, is at most 4. The difference, which means subtraction, the difference of twice a number and 7. That's why is at least, which is greater than or equal to, because at least means you could be equal to 30. The sum, which means addition, the sum of a number squared and 1 is at least 30. Is greater than, so it's is greater than the square root of 2. Negative 44 less a number. So less means subtract. Less and less than are different things. Less than flips it, less does not flip it. Not all subtraction flips it, but less than does flip it. The quotient, I'll always circle my is less than. Is less than, different than less than. Is less than is different than less than. Is less than 0. The quotient, which means division. The quotient of a number and 2. The quotient of a number and 2 decreased by 5 is less than 0. Is at least means is greater than or equal to. 10 is at least 10. Now I'll do this part. Product, which means multiplication. The product of a number, let's say, G, the product of a number and a different number, W, is greater than or equal to 10. Model. So it's a drawing model that represents 3r minus 2 is greater than negative 4. Make sure you show the key. So I'll do a key for both of, well, I'll kind of do it for this one. R will be a big long rectangle. 1 will be a filled in, will be an open one, and negative 1 will be a filled in square. So we have 3 R's minus 2. I like to put the is greater than symbol, but you can certainly do it like this, where this side's heavier using your scale. 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. This is the same one here. I'm going to sort of cheat. I'm going to copy. And I pasted. I'm going to change this R to a W. So now it's W. Negative 3W. Oh, I got to do a little bit more. Negative W will be a filled in one, because now it's a negative W. Negative 3 W's. 1, 2, 3, but they're filled in now because they're negative. Plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is less than or equal to 2. So it gets sort of slanted down like that because this side's heavier, bigger on that side. You don't have to, but just in case, you could just put the inequality symbol. This question has you to solve and graph, show all steps, graph on the number line. I'm not ready to graph this yet until I solve it. It's still split down the middle, minus 4, m is less than 3. I go to 3, open circle, m is on the small side, so I go to the left direction, or you could shade that way. I'm kind of partial to going up and over at this point. Number 2, split down the middle, add 15, gotta know how to work with integers. D, they fight, the negatives win by 5. D is greater than -5. Make sure you circle your answer. Go to -5. It's an open circle because there's no line underneath. Less ink means less ink. If there were more ink, it'd be more ink, but it's not. So less ink is less ink. D is on the big side. Big numbers are always to the right. You cannot always go by the direction. Don't say, oh, this one's going to the right, so I go to the right. We're graphing the variable options. D is on the big side. All symbols have a big side and a small side. D is on the big side, so I shade to the right where the big numbers are. 3, split down the middle, divide by -3, divide by -3, I get F, -7, and it's the first time that my symbol is going to flip. Your inequality symbol flips when you multiply or divide by a negative. Not always just when we multiply or divide by a negative. In this case, I divided by a negative, so my symbol flipped from this way to that way. Go to -7, it's a closed circle, also for the first time, because more ink means more ink. F is on the big side, so I go in the big direction, which is to the right. Split down the middle, undo by multiply by 2, multiply by 2. W, -6, the question is, does the symbol flip? And the answer is no. It does not flip because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. I multiplied by a positive. But the negative was already there. Yeah, the negative was already there. I multiplied by a positive. Again, I go to -6, fill it in. More ink means more ink. W is on the big side, so I go in the big direction, which is always to the right. Number 5, split it down the middle. Add 3, add 3. Negative D equals 1, excuse me. Now this is negative D, or really -1D, divided by -1, divided by -1, so this would be greater than symbol. So I have D, -1, and the symbol flips because I divided by a negative. The symbol flipped from that way to that way. Go to -1, open circle. D is on the small side, big side, small side. D is on the small side, so I go to the small direction, which is always to the left. Number 6 is another 2-step. Someone added -6, so I'll subtract -6. Subtract -6. That'll cancel that. I have -2b is less than. Don't do subtraction, do keep, change, change. They fight, the negative win by 4. Divide by -2, divide by -2, I get b, +2, and yes, the symbol flips because I divided by a negative. Go to 2, it's an open circle, less ink is less ink. B is on the big side, so I go to the right. Number 7, split down the middle, divide by -6, divide by -6, I get F, -4, and yes, the symbol flips because I divided by a negative. Closed circle at -4, F is on the big side, so I go to the right, which is where all the big numbers are. 8 is one question that looks like a 1-step, but it's actually a 2-step. -20, -20. Because you might think, oh, that's a minus, so I'll add it. Nope, the 20 is positive, so I subtract the 20. The 20 is positive. How do I get rid of positive 20? Subtract 20. 15 minus 20 is -5. And now you might say, okay, well, I'll bring the p down. But it's not p, it's actually a negative p, or more accurately, -1p. Divide by -1, divide by -1. I have p. -5 divided by -1 is +5. And yes, the symbol flips because I divided by a negative. So there's a lot of different steps you need to know how to do. I go to 5, +5, open circle. P is on the big side. One of the first times the variable is on the right-hand side. You can't just look at the way the arrow is going. It does not go to the left because P is on the big side. Again, if I look at an inequality, there's a small side and the big side. P is on the big side, so I shade to the big numbers. Those are the numbers that would work. Finishing off these inequalities, number 9 is another 2-step. Add 1, add 1. This is -9 is less than 3b. Divide by 3, divide by 3. b, -3. The symbol does not flip. It does not flip because I divided by a positive. It only flips when you multiply or divide by a negative. Go to -3. b is on the big side, which means I go to the right. Split it, this is -a over 2, so I'll multiply by 2 and multiply by 2. That gets rid of the 2 part, but it doesn't get rid of the -a part. Just get rid of the 2. Is greater than -2. Well, it's -a, or more accurately -1, so I divide by -1, divide by -1. A, -2 divided by -1 is +2, 2 divided by 1 is 2, signs the same positive. And the symbol flips because I divided by a negative. I go to 2. fill it in. More ink means more ink. Since A is on the small side, I go to the left. That's where the small numbers always are. Working backwards for 1, 2, and 3, since to write the inequality that is represented in the line below, we can choose any variable we want, so I'll do W for all 3 of these. I can also do this. Is there a line underneath? Well, it's filled in, so there's a line underneath. Is there a line underneath? Well, it's open, so there's no line underneath. Open, so no line underneath. Now here's the next thing. If I'm going to the left, that means I'm going to the small side, W is on the small side. If I'm going to the right, it means W is on the big side. If I'm going to the left, it means W is on the small side. So I can sort of bang them out real quick that way. And then of course I know my number, -6, 3, and 6. That's almost the easiest part of all of it. This one again, -6, closed circle, and it's on the small side, W is on the small side. 3, open circle, big side, W is on the big side. 6, no line underneath, open circle, and 6 is going to the small side to the left. The last question, apply a level 4 type question, is to create solve and graph an inequality for the situation below, show all your steps and then graph it. The sum, which means addition, of my turtle speed, which I'll call S, and 3 is at most, oh that's like is at most, because is less than or equal to 5. So the sum of my turtle speed and 3 is at most 5. There's my inequality. This is translate. Now it says to solve it. S plus 3 is at most 5. Minus, split down the middle, minus 3. S, 2, does it flip? No, it only flips when you multiply or divide by negative, not when you subtract. S is less than or equal to 2. So now when I graph it, I start at 2, line underneath, so it's filled in. S is on the small side, so I go to the left. But here's my problem. Let's look at this question down here. Are there any values that do not make sense for the turtle speed? Now let's think. We've done this before. We talked about what this answer means. This answer represents the speed, which means the speed of the turtle is less than or equal to 2, which means the speed could be 2 miles per hour. The speed could be 1 mile per hour. It could be 1.5 miles per hour. Anything below 2 it could be. It could be 0 miles per hour. But let's continue thinking. Could it be -1 mile per hour? Because our picture represents us going to -1. But if you think about it, it can't actually be to -1. So my graph shouldn't actually go all this way. The furthest it can actually go is 0. Now, could you be 0 miles per hour? You sure could, so that would be filled in because you could be 0, but you wouldn't be moving. You wouldn't go any further, you'd be 0. Is it possible for this to be an open circle? Depends on the scenario. Sometimes you can't be 0. In this case, you certainly could be 0. But there are a lot of numbers in my solution that don't make sense. Namely, anything that's negative does not make sense.